Endless conversations, man. Endless conversations about similar types of things. Last night's dinner with our former client and now I guess kind of partner in a way, with the
Yeah.
with the other thing that we're doing. It like reignited old conversations about tactical things in business, and it was interesting to explore his journey in his business and where we are at. We were very open and honest with him. Which is not that we're not open and honest, but to go that deep with a client, like it was,
Yeah.
he was very interested in where we're at. And then that sparked our own, we've really honed in. We've honed in on exactly who we help and what we do. And it's been a lot of conversation as the year wraps up, which if you hear, happy New Year's Eve. As the year wraps up, it's like, okay, what is the charge forward in 2026? And I'm sure many people are out there like, what am I doing next year? Why am I doing it? How am I going to do these things? And it's a sometimes it's a struggle and sometimes it's very simple. Sometimes it's just 20% over what I did last year. And sometimes it's a reinvention. Sometimes it's a halt on things that they didn't want to do anymore. There's a lot of that goes into when a new year comes.
Mhm. It's like anything, you have to decide what makes the most sense for you. I think it is something that you really have to take some time to reflect on. Are these things still important to me? What I value, is it still important? What I believe, is that still my belief? Because you can't go into a new year and not explore those things. And we've spent a lot of time looking at what we are doing for 2026 because we want to make sure we're crystal clear on what our messaging is, on what people understand about us, what we're known for. And it's been a really great couple of weeks to really explore those things and put them into such a simple format that's been in front of us the whole time. That's and that's what I would my like if I was to give advice at this moment for anybody that's listening is if you're struggling with something, there's probably something right in front of you that you did really well that you just need to expand or enhance that or even just maintain it. If that may just be the goal for 26 is maintaining. And that's not a bad thing. People think that they have to do more, that they have to, and sometimes the goal is to just maintain and continue to do and spend the parts of your time that maybe you get back with working on the things in your life. And like we talk about being the CEO of your life and your business, it don't just look at your business, look at your life for what you want to do in 2026 and see what you really want to change and work on.
Well, I mean, look, when we say be the CEO, and this is the Be the CEO podcast, the whole intention of that is so you have success always in all ways, right? In your life, in your business, in your relationships. That's what we mean by the whole be the CEO. If we're not doing this to have the success that we want, right, then what is the purpose of it? And I think that's the loop that many people get caught in at the end of each year. It's like, I don't like what I'm doing and I'm gonna tear it all up and start all over again next year. Or they're like feel obligated to continue with what they're doing because it was successful in air quotes, but maybe not the success that they desired. And that's I think why we do this podcast. It's you have as being a self-employed person, you have the ability to go out and chart your own course each and every day. Sometimes it's very difficult because you've agreed, you've made commitments, you have obligations. But over time, you really do have the ability to say, okay, I'm gonna allow myself to become these things that I've always wanted to. And that all dictates, it all comes from the behaviors that we have each and every day. And these behaviors, when you start compounding them, turn you into something, turn your business into something, turn your relationships into something. And we don't, it's hard to see them because you're doing them at a micro scale on a daily basis. You're answering emails at a certain time, you're checking your social media, you're paying attention to your ads, you're looking at your balance sheets, you're serving your clients, you're building your products. Like that's your day to day. But when you start to add them all up, it'll give you the evidence of, wow, this is who I've become. This is why I've become this. It's because of those things that we've done. And if you're looking in the mirror or looking at your balance sheet and you don't like who you've become, there's really one way to change that. It's through the behaviors. But most people's behaviors are kind of on autopilot. It's just, this is what I have to do. And what Tom and I have helped many, many people with is change not the behaviors, but change their beliefs, because what you believe in is going to dictate how you behave. I've gone through this so many times in my life. Like, there was a point when I was with a partnership and I didn't believe in the products and services we were offering, even though it was generating millions of dollars, but I didn't believe in it. So because really didn't believe in what we were doing, I didn't behave in a manner that would allow me to realize all of the success that came from the money. So I had to change. I had to change my behaviors because I realized, oh, wow, I don't believe in this, so I can't behave this way anymore. And I separated myself from that situation and I behaved in a different way. And while I became less successful, air quotes, on paper, I was more successful in my life because it was in alignment with my beliefs. And that catapulted me into where I am today. It allowed me to truly see, okay, if I am very clear on, this is my belief of who I am, of what I want, of the how my days need to look, of the identity I know I have, my capabilities, my relationships. If I am really committed to those beliefs and understand them, the behaviors are very simple at that point. It's just kind of like, all right, well, this is what I do because that's who I am. We can put the analogy to like someone who's not a smoker, right? They've never smoked in a day in their life. They don't smoke, right? You're not a smoker. But see, someone who's quitting smoking, what they do is they're like, "Oh, I'm quitting smoking." They have a belief that they're still a smoker and they're quitting. So what they have believed is, I'm a quitter and I'm not smoking now. Where if they change their belief system and like, I'm not a smoker, then there is no behavior that says I pick up a cigarette and smoke it. And
Correct.
that's simply what happens when we understand and commit to our beliefs. Is then the action, the behavior changes right after that. And as you do these behaviors, you become that thing that you've set out to do. And it's just that most of us, the behavior doesn't align with who we want to become. That's really it.
100%, and when people, we see so many people that say, "Oh, I'm stuck," or "I'm not sure what to do." They're not taking necessarily any action, or they don't know what actions to take, and it's usually because those things are no longer important, or they no longer believe that those are the things they should be doing, right? Like they lost their way, right? They explain stagnation as, I'm just, and procrastination even. Like all those things that we've talked about, like all of this makes sense in terms of the actions that we take, and those are obviously our behaviors. If you're procrastinating on something, or you're not taking action on something, ask yourself, do I still believe I have to do this thing, or what do I believe? Because if you've been sitting, like, we know some people that they've been procrastinating on something from weeks and months. It's like, okay, well, you got to take an action here. And your action that you do take to get unstuck is to look at your belief system and what you are focused on right now in terms of your beliefs, and what may be standing in your way. We talk about sabotaging habits.
But
Those
hold
are
on, just
all.
on that,
Yeah,
but on that procrastination, see, the thing is they are taking an action, right? It's just it doesn't align with who they want to become. And the reason that the action that they're taking is they're consistently thinking, okay, I should take a different action, but they're not taking it, right? So the action is, I'm going to consistently think of ways to one day possibly do this thing. But what happens is our beliefs change over time. And when we get married to them, and that's it, that's the only belief I have, I'm never going to change it, which is a fixed mindset, then yeah, you're going to procrastinate more. You're going to overcomplicate things. You're going to have less success. You're going to get burnt out because you haven't looked in the mirror and said, wait, 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 have my beliefs changed? And when they do, then that's going to dictate how my behaviors change. But someone who's procrastinating, it's not that they can't do the thing. It's just their belief system in doing that thing is no longer aligned. But deep down inside, they're just saying, I should do this. But they don't know why they should do this. That it's usually an outside influence or something they wrote down on a piece of paper a year ago on their business plan that says, I'm going to do this. But now they don't believe in it anymore. And that's like that story when I was in that partnership. That's exactly what I said I was going to do. I'm going to continue on this partnership and grow this business. But there was a moment when I just said, okay, my belief has changed. I believed it originally. That's why I was doing it. And then I didn't. And it was okay to say, I have changed. But if you have changed and your behavior doesn't, then you're not going to become what you want. You're going to become something else. And then you can't really look at it as success. Even if it's a ton of money and a lot of freedom and great relationships, you're never going to look at it as success. You're going to look at it and be like, that's not what I want. I know other people say it looks great, but it's not what I want. And that's why, even in those procrastination states, you are continually taking the action. It's just
It's
not
true.
aligned with your belief.
Right, and that's where the friction comes in. I mean, you create all this friction and stress when you are taking actions that don't align with what you believe or who you wanna become, and it causes so much turmoil, and this is one of the things that I think we see with a lot of people we work with and anyone who really is self-employed. You wind up doing everything. And you become this person who now does everything, and then everything else around you starts to fall apart, but it was never your intention to become the guy who does everything. It was to be the head of a company or to lead your own company or simply just to create a job for yourself so that you can generate revenue. And you become that person, but you get lost along the way because the tide, so to speak, kind of takes you away. And I think that's one of the things that we have to recognize is that sometimes there's an undercurrent that pulls us along in a certain direction. And if we don't stop and take the time to reevaluate where we really are, and we realize, "Oh my god, I got taken away to sea and I never will become that person." Well, it's you gotta come back out of the water now, and you gotta fight the current, and you gotta try to figure out what are the actions that I need to take, but you need to know what you believe first. And you can get caught up in it, and I think that's something that a lot of people have to recognize is that momentum is good and bad. You may be working on something, but that momentum could take you in a whole other way, and it now goes against what you believe and what you were doing and who you were going to become. And now you're becoming this whole other person.
Right. And it's, that undercurrent is your that's carrying you there are usually old beliefs that dictated old behaviors. The thing is it's not about it feeling good. It's about what we believe we either want or who we are or what our purpose is or those things. Because I'm sure there's plenty of people that are listening to this that I've just given permission to have shiny object syndrome and just change because it's hard. No matter what behavior you're going to take on that is worthy of success is going to be extremely hard, but it can be simple. And when I say simple, I don't mean it's simple to do. I mean, it's simple to know why you are doing it. When we say business is simple, it's just not easy. Life is simple, it's just not easy. The simple part isn't in the action. That's hard. The simple part is knowing why I'm going to take the action, why I'm going to have the behavior. That simplicity comes because it's aligned with I believe in why I am doing this. I believe in what I want to become. I believe in the byproducts of my behaviors. And there just comes a point in your life when it gets out of whack. And that point comes over and over and over again. So we're constantly, and as it's New Year's Eve, it's the great New Year's Eve. It's a great time to reassess, what do I believe in this next year? And most of us will come and do what everybody else does, and they'll set a resolution of I'm going to resolve something. But that usually comes from a negative point, not in a positive point.
Oh,
And
hmm
when you're resolving something, you're saying more to yourself, I don't believe in eating donuts anymore. I don't believe in sitting on the couch and not going to the gym. I don't believe in, you know, working Saturdays anymore, whatever it is. So I'm gonna resolve to not do that. I'm gonna resolve to be at dinner with my family more. But what do you believe in?
Right. Well, that's why resolutions don't work because
Correct.
typically they're just trying to fix a behavior, but there's no belief behind it. You don't
Correct.
recognize or acknowledge the new belief that you have.
Well, look at weight loss is always a big one. It's probably the
Yeah.
biggest resolution that people have.
Mhm.
The problem with like I'm gonna lose 20 pounds or I'm gonna go to the gym every day is they don't have the belief that I'm the type of person that loses 20 pounds. Because if you have the belief in I'm now gonna be the person that loses 20 pounds, or you could take it even further. I'm gonna be the person that is appropriately fit for my height and age, right? If you adopt that belief, that's who I am, your behaviors would be matching. It would say, well, what does a person do who is fit for I'll be 47 tomorrow. Tomorrow's my birthday. Happy birthday, Adam. You're welcome.
Happy
Thank you.
birthday,
Appreciate
Adam.
you. So I'll be 47 tomorrow. So the idea is if I believe at 47 this is who I am, then my behavior matches that, right? And that's the simple part. It's like, well, I don't have to pretend I'm the guy who loses weight, or I'm the guy who can bench 225 for 15 reps, or I'm the guy who can be at dinner at 7 o'clock every single day with my family. You don't have to pretend. It's just you believe that's who you are. Then your behaviors are natural. They're simple. Okay. It's going to be hard to go to the gym or avoid the donut or not work after a certain point of time or any of these other things. It's going to be very hard, but the activity is simple to do. Okay. It's hard to execute. Simple to start, hard to execute. And that's where people get stuck. They procrastinate, they have conflict, they get burnt out, they have anxiety. It's because they can't even start. They can't really continue because they don't believe it. So, as you're starting to look here as what is my next year going to be, look at your beliefs. Who do you believe you are? Who do you believe you want to become? What do you believe in? What is your mindset? We talked recently, Tom and I, about a client that is very successful. He did $3 million last year, but he has a lack mindset, not an abundance mindset. And it's centered around debt and these other things. And when I looked at everything on paper, he's doing all the right things. Like everything. He's leveraging money the right way. He's putting aside. He's protecting himself. He has opportunity for investment, opportunity for revenue generation, opportunity to hire great people or let go of bad people. He has all this opportunity in front of him, but he believes he's in a position where he has to be concerned and protect and like, oh my God, it all could fall apart tomorrow. And I asked him a simple question. I'm like, how much revenue does it take to keep the books afloat? And he gave me a number. And I say, and what do you need in order to do that? And he's like, just me. He's like, I could literally by myself sit on a couch and make that much revenue. I'm like, so why are we in this lack mind? Why do you believe you have to be vigilant about everything? Why do we believe that? And he couldn't give us an answer. So what he had to do in that circumstance is start to change what he believes. And he's working on it. It doesn't mean he automatically now believes, oh, I have abundance and everything's going to be great and peachy and keen and I'm going to go off and we're going to be successful. It's work. But that system that he now has is saying, wait a minute, do I do I really believe I need to keep $2 million in cash? Or can I use it? Do I really believe I can't hire these people or can I do that? Do I believe I need to keep these people because they're the only ones that can make the money or can I let them go? And that ability for him to all of a sudden open up his belief system to a new way is going to allow him to have success always in all ways. It's going to flow over to his life, to his fitness, to his business, to his relationships. And this is what I'm talking about with as you're considering what next year is about. If you can start to commit and understand in what you believe, that will dictate those behaviors that will allow you to become whatever it is 2026 is really meant for you, not what it should be, air quotes for those who are listening, not what it should be for next year.
And like that example that you gave, it's often right in front of you. Like, you get caught up in he got caught up in this whole future, but everything he needed was right in front of him. He just didn't believe it was all there until we started to point it out and started to and that's the thing, like, it's often very obvious to somebody else looking from the outside, right? And that's why it's good to get other people's perspectives, but you could give yourself that fresh perspective. Look at it as if you were an outsider. Do and ask yourself those questions. I think that's the hardest part for people is asking themselves the hard questions, asking themselves the right questions even. But keep it simple. Like, do you have what you need? Do you know what you want next? What do you want? Like that's the biggest question that, we talk about is what do you want out of this business? What do you want for your life? What's important to you? And if you haven't formed beliefs around those desires of what you want, it's really hard to execute on any of it. You have to, and that's what I think he was doing is he was caught up in old beliefs that said he had to build and make this company what it is and all this, and he got caught up in those beliefs and necessarily wasn't the person he wanted to become or the business that he wanted it to become. It was simply that he had this belief that it had to be this other thing, but when you're struggling through it and you're not recognizing it and you're seeing that you're creating all this extra stress, which he was doing, is creating a lot of stress because he had to get to a certain point that he really didn't believe in. And then once you see what's right in front of you and you say, I've got everything that I need, okay, then I believe that now I know that. So what do I really want to become then? And it throws you into a whole loop. And I think all of us go through this is you like I said before, you get caught up in the undercurrent, you get caught up in everything, and if you don't take the step back, you miss the opportunity that's right in front of you, and that opportunity is often to challenge what you believe, because that's what some opportunities are. That's why some people fear them, some people avoid them completely, is because they're afraid to change their belief. They're afraid to take on new actions. They're afraid to do all that stuff because they're afraid of who they will become instead of embracing who they're meant to become because this opportunity comes in and it allows you to reevaluate everything.
I wanna go back to that in a moment about who I you said who I could become. I wanna go back to that for a second in a moment. The the word that I despise the most because I don't like using the four-letter word, HATE. I don't like that word. But the word that I despise the most that gets under my skin is the word "should." And this is typically what'll dictate your behaviors that aren't in alignment with your beliefs. It's like, "I should do this." But people don't ask themselves why. "Why should I do this?" And it's they can convince themselves of why they should. They should because I could. They should because I have an opportunity and why not? But they very rarely, when they're saying I should do this, they can very rarely back it up with the belief system of why.
Correct.
We have a shirt that we sell. It says "Don't should all stop shooting all over yourself."
Yeah.
Something like that, right? What does it say?
Stop shitting on yourself.
Stop shooting on yourself. And it was something Tom and I came up with years ago, which was because people would be like, I really should uh, work more hours. I really should, reach out to more clients. I really should hire this person. I really should go to the gym more often. I really should spend more time with my kids. Yeah, but you don't believe that. Otherwise, you'd do that. Tom laughs at my voices
I love it. I love your voices, man.
because you can feel the moron in it, right?
Right, because it's such a weird fucking word, man. What is should? Like, it is a weird word. It's like, what does that mean?
Yeah, but it's either you're doing it or you're not, right? It has to be black and white, and should leaves it open for procrastination, interpretation, delay, and like beating yourself up and excuses. Where I'm not going to do that or I am going to do that is very clear cut. It's very simple. And that is the difference between believing and just like hoping.
Right. Well, that's what throws off your beliefs is this idea of should, because should is usually a comparison mode thing, right? When you're looking at other people, oh, that person is doing that, so I guess I should do that. But the thing is that person's doing that, and it's leading to their success because they believe that that is the thing that they need to do to achieve that success. If you don't believe that that's what you quote unquote should do, then don't do it. And that's what like should is a big we see it more and more comparison with society, with standards, with norms, with social media, what other people are doing. And what we're saying is that you have to if you're going to become the person that you want to be, you have to believe and have the behaviors that you quote unquote, not to use the word, but should be doing, because that should implies that you believe it, not that you're comparing it to somebody else. This is the stuff you need to do. This is the stuff that will make you the person you become.
But you see, you fixed it. It's not what you should do, it's what needs to get
What
done,
needs to be done, right?
right? Like, if someone says, "Hey, I wanna have I wanna have more inbound leads," and they're like, "You know what? I should really advertise." Well, no, just say, "I need to advertise to get more inbound leads."
Right.
Right? That's the difference. If you believe that advertising is what you need to do to have more inbound leads, then it's not, "I should do that." It's like, "I need to do that. Am I doing it or not now?" Right? I need to do that, but I can't. I believe I can't because I don't have the money. I believe I can't because I don't have the competency, the knowledge, the acumen to do these things. Well, okay, but if you still believe I should do the advertising, then it's like, "Okay, well, what can I do?" Well, I believe that I can't. Okay, so let me find someone who can. I believe I don't have the money to do this. Let me learn how to do it. I'm gonna learn how to do that. But saying I should advertise leads to no action.
Correct.
It leads to contemplation on how, not what.
Leads to contemplation on how, not what. Very
I need to advertise. I should advertise. Well, how would I do that? I would do that where I need to advertise. Okay, what am I gonna do? I'm gonna run ads on Facebook, or I don't know how to run on Facebook. I'm gonna learn how to run ads on Facebook. I don't know where I should run ads. I'm gonna learn where people run ads. I don't want to learn anything. I'm gonna find some person who knows all this stuff. When you say I should, like, yeah, I really should. That would be a good idea. See, even I'm saying it, that would be
yeah,
a good idea.
good idea, right.
There's
But
no action.
yeah, and you're right. I made the mistake that everybody makes. I use should to demonstrate need, and it's not need is very different than should. Like, and do you really need I need to do that. Okay, why do you need to do that? What do you believe that you need to do? Where should is we often, and this is why words are so important, we use should to reflect what we think we need. And that's what I think is it. I made that say I did that just here. I used it when I'm trying to express what do you truly need to do to become the person that you want to become. Because
Well,
if you
that's the
believe you
person.
need it, you'll do it.
That's the person who says I should lose 20 pounds.
Exactly.
It's an option. It's not a commitment. When someone says I need to lose 20 pounds, and I believe I'm the type of person that can lose 20 pounds, okay, what does a person who believes they can lose 20 pounds do? Well, they put less donuts in their throat hole. Okay, great. There's one thing I am doing, not could do, not should do. I no longer put donuts every Friday in my throat hole. Okay, great. What else does someone who is losing 20 pounds do? Well, they get off their ass and they walk around their block after dinner. Okay. And now your belief dictates your behavior. I'm the type of person who gets off my ass after dinner and walks around the block. And guess what happens? If you stop putting donuts in your throat hole and you walk around the block, over a period of time, you're going to lose 20 pounds. Okay. That may take you 3 decades. It may take you 3 weeks, but you're going to do it. Okay. And that is a start. That means you're doing it. Not I should. It's I need and I'm doing. And that is the whole philosophy on believe, behave, become. If you want to become the CEO, if you want to be the CEO of your life and your business, if you want to have success always in all ways, you have to believe, then you have to behave that way and you will become it. It's really that simple. This is why we say business and life are simple. They're just not easy.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.